Dean. Well, good morning. Beautiful sunrise here at Djuma Game Reserve. Welcome to our morning drive. My name is Mark. Andrew's with me on camera. And Brian in final control. Is that a reflection on the lens? No, it's just me. I was hearing something in the back here driving out here this morning. Something squeaking like a baby rat or rodent. Just that beautiful sky. It's getting better and better. Wondering if the sun is up already or if it's still going to pop up. Should be up already. Like a sunset keeps changing and you never know when it's going to be at its best. Kruger National Park, February 20-something, 2015. Let's see what we can find today. Overcast, quite a high cloud, with a little bit of a lower layer. Lion walked here this morning, last night. Time to go down to the water. Big lion. My guess is a Matimba. His tracks there. Let's see if he can walk down to the dam. Otherwise he might have gone there. That might have been where I was hearing all that noise. There's birds shouting or something. So what do we have? Lion tracks heading down to the dam. Here we go in search of a lion. It's always nice to start the morning with a little bit of purpose. Okay, so good purposes. Pity we don't have the camera up because would have known what time he was here. I didn't hear anything during the night. In the way of lion calling. Sure I would have heard him if he had called this close to camp. Because now we have to try and ascertain which way he went. Or down Twin Dams Road. And usually if he went down Twin Dams Road because he was coming north, why would he go south again? Unless he's looking for something like a lion pride, could be looking for this. And it could be because he's on his own. He doesn't want to make too much noise, just in case there's some other boys around. Let's see if we can find his tracks on the other side of the dam. Very hard ground here after the rain, so not easy to see tracks. Easier up on the top of this spillway where there's sand. Hyena, the lion. I don't even know if he crossed the dam yet, but we've got to eliminate places. Either find his tracks or eliminate the place where he hasn't been. And that maybe might take us back to square one. Back at Gowrie Dam. Side FC. Baboon just made a noise. Seems there's a troop of baboon that's spending a bit more time here now. That was a young baboon. Made a bit of a noise. could mean that something's rolling around. I'm just going to stop this noise. Teacup, coffee cup, and water bottle. So it's possible that baboon can see something, or that there might be something down there. We're not going to go too far from Gowrie Dam because at the moment it doesn't look like this lion came up here onto this road, but that means because it could still be down there towards the dam. The dam is quite long, ends almost in line with where we are now. So the key is to see a little bit further north in case he chose one of several routes. Looks like it. Yep, I think he might have been back here on the road. Came up from the dam. Caroline in Missouri. Any word on that injured zebra? No, Caroline. Unfortunately, nobody really goes out during the night. So, and also one wouldn't, I don't know, one wouldn't really find it between yesterday and now. It's now time to go and maybe look for it. I suppose we can go and see what happened with it. Partial prints further back. We need to find better sand. If we have no luck with this lion, we'll take a ride over to Zoe's road and see if we can find It's not really great to see injured animals, but it is what happens in nature. It's hard to live with not being able to do anything about it, but it is what it is. See the hyena tracks here, but not lion tracks. Partial print was maybe hyena. Morning, Theodora. What do we do this morning? What other primates do we have here besides baboons and vervet monkeys? We have one other species, well, maybe two, but mostly only one other species. That's a nocturnal primate known as the galago, the lesser galago, the lesser bush baby. Tiny little squirrel-sized primate. Comes out at night, got very big eyes and big ears, tiny little face, little gremlin looking thing. And the larger species of bush baby that one finds in the parts of the Sabi sand, especially along the rivers like the Sand River and the Sabi River, where there are different trees, bigger trees, more fruits, especially figs and things. That's the thick-tailed bush baby, much bigger galago, about the size of a cat, little like a chubby cat. But of course doesn't look anything like a cat. Looks like a little primate. Pointy nose, big eyes and big ears. Bush baby has, I think, specially adapted vertebra in the neck, if not maybe more than just 7. See, bush baby's eyes are fixed in its socket because they're so big. It has to turn its head a lot to look at things. They're great little hunters. Their ears pick up the tiniest sound of an insect. And in those big eyes, they see the slightest movement. Quite strangely enough, in the dry season, when insects and other arthropods are not as freely available as they are in the summer months, these little bush babies live on sap and gum from the trees, mostly acacia sap or gum. They score the bark with their incisors, and they have these sap farms within their territory. And they'll visit all these little places in the trees within their territory where they've been harvesting sap or gum that exudes from the damaged bark. We saw a baboon feeding on some of the bark secretions rather, secretion. Well, at this stage doesn't look like he came north this far. Maybe he's still at the dam. Let's go back. On the road, on the right. Oh, I was looking on the road. If he stays there, it looks like a big piglet, quite a big waterfall. That might have been our best shot there. That's a massive warthog. You can see those warts below his ears are very big. Big but worn tusks. That is a massive warthog. One thing excuse me, one thing I didn't do was look down the road. Did you look that way when we were coming up? Nothing obvious. Pardon me, devil. Morning. Donna's in Missouri. Missouri is probably a lot colder here in winter, Donna. What the winter is like here and how it affects the animals. It is a very mild, Donna. It is dry season. The trees eventually lose their leaves. Different trees. Trying to get through that little patch where the signal isn't so good. Back closer to Central Road now and continue with our line tracking if we can. We lose the tracks, Donna, our winters here are relatively mild. It's our dry season. Our temperatures can drop to probably around 40 degrees, 42 degrees Fahrenheit, about 5 degrees Celsius. I don't know if that's the same, but very seldom below about 5. But that's also very, very cold, middle of the night type of temperature, or rather early morning, the minimum. Average is around, I suppose, 10 degrees Celsius, which is what, maybe 50 degrees Fahrenheit? Not quite, but I'm just guessing. Conversions. Aha, that's why we didn't find him, because he came out somewhere else. But I don't think he went down that road. Maybe he went up Central. Oops. tracking and catching this. Behavior of animals. Donald wanted to know how animal behavior changed. It doesn't really change much. They still eat a lot of what they normally eat until things lose their leaves. But there are some things that they'll eat dry once they've fallen from trees. It depends on which animal it is, really. I mean, different animals have different ways of sourcing food when it's not as abundant as it is in the summer months, but they are still here and they still manage to survive. I suppose there is enough that stays green long enough, or there's enough for them to find. I didn't see any tracks. I don't think this cat came up this way, which means that he must have gone into the drainage line where the big jackalberry is. And that means he might still have headed up towards the little cut line. So we will have to take Djuma Road for the dam and back to the boundary. Charlie in Minnesota. Nice to hear from you. Minnesota can be cold, I guess. In cities. Charlie is referring to nocturnal visits of elephants to waterholes, asking whether they can see pretty well at night or they rely on other senses. Charlie, actually I think we're going to have to do Hyena Road to the boundary. Come to think of it, it's not a great road, but it's actually the most logical. Who knows what we might find there anyway. Wow, I think it's rattling. Too many loose items in the car. Charlie, elephants do have fairly good night vision. Yeah, I suppose in a way, Charlie was asking, do they rely on other senses? I suppose mostly they rely on sound and touch and smell. That probably comes more into play at night than it does sight. I suppose their vision is good enough to get them around. You see, the animals don't all close down at night. They don't all just go and lie down and go to sleep and wait until daytime. It doesn't happen. It only happens for certain species who are very specifically diurnal, very specifically nocturnal. Things like the primates. baboons and monkeys. They've got to get into their trees and go to sleep. And warthog will go into their burrows. We won't talk about the predators because their sleep patterns are not dependent on night or day. But all of the prey species, all of the herbivores, for various reasons, but mostly because they've got to be aware of everything around them all the time. They've constantly got to be alert. Well, they can relax as long as there's someone looking out, and they are tuned in to the sounds in the world around them that maybe they will hear alarm calls, or they'll find or hear something that will give them early enough warning that there might be danger. Maybe they'll smell something in the air. But generally the herbivores are pretty much awake 24 hours a day. They rest. They close their eyes for short periods, I suppose, depending on the species. None of them really lie flat unless they're young animals. Not many animals actually lie flat and go to sleep. But also the other thing is that herbivores need to be processing their food all the time. They have a kind of digestive system that needs constant replenishment, constant activity. Food going in, food going out, food being chewed. And so sleep isn't really common. Well, it's not really the same thing for most animals as it is for us. And because of that, they're all gifted with fairly good night vision. And in particular, they've got their own built-in night vision. We don't have it, sadly. We're not really supposed to be out there at night. We are diurnal. Our circadian rhythm requires us, and our brains require us to sleep. Elephants are constantly on the move. Cool for them, they can feed wherever they want. They don't have to stick to shade. But they pretty much carry on doing what they normally do. I haven't heard anything on the radio. Grey-headed bush shrike somewhere. Sometimes don't drive this road for months, and now I've driven it within a few days. 3 times, I think. Well, we had a lovely big elephant on this road a while ago. And then we were looking for lion again today. camp this way. Hello, Mel. From Ventura in California. Hello, Mel. Mel, looking at the road, there's variations in elevation. There are, but it's very minor variations where we are in the Sabi Sand, Mel. Further south and west of us, you get some beautiful rocky outcrops, granite outcrops that we call poppies, that can reach 100 meters, 100 yards high. And they have an entire little ecosystem around them. There's special birds that live on those rocky outcrops, special little animals known as hyraxes, and a special type of antelope known as the springer, which I guess directly translated is rock jumper. But it just doesn't have an English name, a common, that is its name, clip springer. Clip springer. And I suppose overall that doesn't really vary the elevation that much, since we're only at about 1,000 feet. I suppose you could say it varies between maybe actually 100 meters high. Those poppies are not that high, but I suppose you could say the elevation varies between, I'd say, maybe 800 and 1100 feet, maybe. I wonder what app you can get that gives you elevation. Is there an app that you can get that will give you elevation? Map or an app. Need one of the two. A map or an app. Preferably a map. Brian, you broke up there. I didn't get you the first. Thing's playing up again. Or it's this thing playing up. Marco in New Jersey wants to know if I can find a water scorpion or other colourful insect. And another one. What kind of fancy stag beetles? We don't have stag beetles, we have rhinoceros beetles. And we have click beetles and giant longhorn beetles. We have a lot, Marco. We have, there are hundreds, but I don't have, what was a dacre in the road? I don't have many specimens here I could bring. Next time I go home, I've even got dried water scorpions. I've got a lot of specimens at home. But yeah, actually I've got a couple of nice big rhinoceros beetles in my room. But I didn't want to show you too many at once. I mean, let's see. I'll show you what there was the rhinoceros beetle, this one, that I showed you the last time. And I've kept it because I want to keep it there for scale. Now this is another type of rhinoceros beetle, but this is a female. She's a little bit bigger. Now these are specimens that have lived out their lives as adults for the summer, and they've probably hopefully reproduced, and then they die, and I find their carcasses. Sorry, I'm got to go on the radio because the guys that have just found those lion tracks, I need to tell them how much. If they would just Good morning guys, Mark here. That Mkonzo crosses the dam and heads up Central Road. I had the last track in the junction of Gari Cutline and Central. I'm on Buffelshoek Cutline now having a look. Hi there Andrew. Okay, so no, you beetles, Andrew, beetles. As you can see, they are a species of dung beetle. Sometimes they're still able to manipulate their limbs because they haven't dried out. The membranes haven't dried out. Most dung beetles have these very, very spade-like front legs that they use to compact dung with. And of course those dung beetles that are the ones that make the dung balls, they have the most what's the word? Modified front legs to do so. Now, what's interesting is that this one died with its wings partially open. Actually, a couple of them that I do have died with their wings unfolded. Now, believe it or not, most beetles, because you get ground beetles, you get beetles that lived on the ground so long that their wings have fused. But on the back of beetles, you find there are two very hard wings that we call the elytra, which are actually just protective cases for their actual flight wings. And their flight wings are these most amazing things that fold up and tuck underneath. You can't see on this little one, you can't see the wings because they folded up and tucked underneath the elytra. The elytra open up and they lift up, and they actually cause stability. They create stability in flight, as well as offering protection to the wings when the beetle is on the ground and it's walking around. They're very, very fine membranous wings, as you can see, and so if these wings were out all the time while they're on the ground, they would get damaged, and flight is very important to these beetles. Some beetles, in fact there are some beetles, and dung beetles for that matter, that have lost the use of their wings because they're no longer needed to cover ground. There was enough of the type of dung that they needed to live a terrestrial life, and so they lost their flight wings, and the two elytra that were the protective covers actually fused down the middle to form just a normal outer covering, a normal protection for the body, and they can no longer fly. A lot of ground beetles actually are like that. This is not a beetle, and this is not a bug. This is an antlion. A lot of you might have heard of the term antlion. This is the second one of the little five. We had the rhinoceros beetle, and this is an antlion. Now the antlion might look very much like a dragonfly or a damselfly, and unfortunately it died in a way that's very hard. It's a very small specimen, and I hope I can find bigger ones, because you get some species that are up to 6 inches long and huge wingspans, and they fly like fairies. They've got fairy wings, most beautiful little wings. They're very different to damselflies and dragonflies, and I can talk to you about that when we're driving. 3 of the specimens that I've got. I'm going to keep that little rhinoceros beetle in there all the time, because it's a good size reference for any other insects we might find. Now, I'm not seeing anything along whiffles of cut lines. Theodora, we haven't seen any earthworms. No, we won't see earthworms, Theodora. They have to dig up soil to find earthworms. Are there crickets and cockroaches? Yes, there are hundreds of different species of both, Theodora. Many different types of crickets that live in all sorts of different conditions or habitats, or niches rather. Cockroaches we have are not the type of the cockroaches that we get here are not the sort of cockroaches that gross people out. There are 3 main species of cockroaches that invade human habitation and become a pest. The cockroaches that we get here are all wood roaches, and although there are many different species, they are not as prolific and as invasive. In fact, the only cockroaches that we have a problem with here are some of the same cockroaches that you have problems with elsewhere in the rest of the world. 3 main species of cockroach that have infested our lives because of the way we hoard and store food. And it's not only that, even the cockroaches can live on the cardboard of the cartons that our food comes in. So even if they can't get at the food, they can still feed on the cartons. Anyway, our cockroaches feed on, I suppose to a large extent, the same thing, the decaying and dead plant material, cellulose, and in some cases even decaying and dead animal matter. And many grasshoppers. In fact, every group of insects you will find an example, you'll find a specimen here. Of course, to be able to get them on camera is not as easy as it might seem. Today's not a great day for it because it's fairly cool and overcast. Nice humid days, and I suppose we're lucky we've had a bit of rain, so there have been a few insects out. I have a few other specimens to show you. There's a scarab that I've got, nice big scarab. And there are another 2 big rhino beetles that I've got that I can show you. And I'm always looking. I've got a praying mantis that I found dead yesterday. I should have collected more insects when I had the chance, when they were out in profusion, December and January. But with a bit of luck, if I go home again for some time off, if it happens, I'll bring some of them. I especially keep them so I can show people and talk about them, because insects are really interesting. And it's all the physical adaptations of their bodies that help them in their little lives that they live, because they might appear as just these robotic creatures, but they're not. They're special. They're remarkable. Charlie, I think it was asking if the horn on the rhino beetle was sharp or poisonous. No, definitely not poisonous, or venomous for that matter. And sharp, yes, it is quite sharp. It's used for fighting. It is used in competition for females. Well, it's somewhat like a stag beetle marker. And I would love to have more insects, because we talk about insects all day. And spiders. Holly, morning Holly, wants to show the rest of the little five. That's why I have the antlion and the rhino beetle, Holly, because I'm trying. Oh, lots of hippo here today. I only had one or two the other day. Suddenly we got a whole raft of hippo. Morning, hippopotami. The elephant shrew is probably going to be the most difficult. Today we might find a leopard tortoise, and well, buffalo weavers are easy enough. There are lots of them around camp. There should be some here, because those are buffalo weaver nests in the torchwood on the other side of the dam. And I can't hear any at the moment. Andrew, come in. Andrew, come in. Are you still on Adam Konzo? Yeah, the last track that I had was just one Mgonzo on that junction with Gary Cutline, so I'm not sure. Maybe he went into that riverbed where the big jackalberry is. Okay, copied. Yeah, I'm up at Buffelshoek Dam now. There's nothing this side, and nothing on Buffelshoek boundary from Gary Cutline. But maybe I missed it. Yeah, firm. Sorry, Brian, I had to turn you down because I'm listening to the guys talking about this lion track. There were two crossing. Interesting. One of the guys from the other channel, from one of the other lodges, who's just come onto our radio channel to find out if we found any tracks, has been on these lion tracks for the last hour and a half, he says. Hang on. Okay, one set crossing into Bibbleshoek. Hang on. Ryan coming? Where did he cross? Okay, that might have been after I was on Gary Cutline. Yeah, likewise, thanks. There's still that one other one here there somewhere, but thanks. So two of them, I think it was Cedric from Arathusa, says that he's been on their tracks coming up to Gary Cut, or rather Gary Main, where they come onto the property of Djuma. Two sets of tracks, so both of them are timbers, and then somewhere between Treehouse Dam and Philemon's Dip, one of the line, they split up because we followed the one track. Ryan just found the track of this big male that we were following, found his tracks crossing over at Gary Cutline, and I didn't see that at all. Here he is now. So negative, not moving on. Sorry, sure, that was a long... From your car? Sorry, Brian, no, that was... Sorry for earlier, I'm ready now. Gwendolyn, morning Gwendolyn, also SoCal, Southern California. Where's Southern California? Is that San Diego? Is that considered Southern California? Barstow. Why are some hippo pinker than others? They're less sunburned, I suppose. Pigment and things. What's up, squirrel? Oh, you're a scrawny squirrel. You haven't even got a tail worth squirreling about. Shouting at something in here. went deep into this jacket plum. That's another fruit. Didn't think of that one the other day. The jacket plum, high in vitamin C, delicious. Remember some of us were talking about other fruits other than marulas. And there's another one that I just thought of now as well. I've just forgotten about it. Let's see, jacket plum. It's the word associate. I was thinking of jacket plum, and then another one came to mind. Slipped my mind. Of all the things I've lost before, I miss my mind the most. Hippo are actually pink, but that's mostly sunburn that makes them brown. But yeah, they had to, I suppose, somewhat like Asian elephants. Different individuals have different pigments. Morning, Kingfisher. Ah, that's what it was. It was the Carissa bispinosa, the white thorn, or the num num. That's another very tasty little fruit. Berry. Lynn in Kitchener. Do hippos snuggle in the water together? They haven't seen that before. Yes, they do. I mean, there are times when their population pressures can make them a little bit more short-tempered, and they're a little bit more picky about their personal space. But normally, most of the time, the females are social enough that they rest on each other's backs, or rest their heads on each other's backs. This tree again. Flowers are fading. Not many insects. I think one of the best trees for insects is the euphorbia that I have outside my house when it flowers in July in the dry season, when you think there aren't many insects. Oh boy. It is just a hive of activity. Hub of activity. So many different species of wasps and bees and flies and ants and all the little things that come along to eat them, like praying mantises and spiders. Birds. And lizards and geckos. And then the snakes that eat the lizards and geckos. There isn't really anything here that flowers that profusely, that has such a high number of insects pollinating it. Morning, Deer in Miami, Florida. Deer was asking about the hippos, that many without fighting. Well, they're all females, or is there only one male? Generally only one male in these circumstances. You have different dynamics where you might have larger hippo populations on sort of some of the permanent rivers. where there's probably a lot more fighting going on because you're having a lot more interaction between males. But here, hippo bulls seem to sort out the dams and the water where they want to be. And there is sometimes bickering, and but nothing really serious. If another male was to arrive at a dam, it would be an entirely different matter. So, that was the only good thing we're going to see of the sun this morning, by the looks of things. A little bit of brightness at the start of the day, a little bit overcast and cloudy and cruel. Which is going to play havoc with animal behavior. I'll see what I can find in the little macro world on the bushes that I pass. If there's something interesting. Gestation for a hippo Donna in Canada, gestation is about 9 months. And yes, they do give birth in the water, Donna. Actually, most of the time they do. And if you know any people that have had water births, it's supposed to be very calming. But for hippo, that is what they do. The baby stays in the water for the first couple of weeks. In fact, it should stay in the water because it's very vulnerable, and until it's quite able to cope with the rigors of being out of the water during the night with lion and hyena and things. What is that dove got? It looks like it's looking for nesting material. Looks like it's digging, and maybe that might be elephant dung. Old dried elephant dung that has fine fibrous material. Probably looking for some softer stuff to line its nest. Not really elephant dung, just little bits of dry grass. No elephant dung there. It seems it was just pecking at pieces of grass. Daker. Carol, morning Carol. The largest insect we find in the Djuma area is the walking stick beetle. It is a walking stick. We get the giant stick insect. We call them stick insects. Giant stick insect, which could probably be about 8 inches, maybe more long. Of course, That's only in length that it's the largest. The heaviest insect we get is probably one of the giant longhorns or giant click beetle. I don't know what happened to my click beetle. I had one. I don't know what happened. Anybody come down Central Road onto Djuma today? It doesn't look like it. There's some fairly large grasshoppers and some fairly large mantises. But yeah, the giant stick insect takes the cake, and it's the longest, and probably a toss-up between one of the giant scarabs, the giant longhorn beetle, or the giant click beetle as being the heaviest. I suppose if we go into arthropods, we can say one of the giant millipedes is actually also one of the largest things we get here. That's an arthropod or an invertebrate. There is also, Marco mentioned the water scorpion, which is an insect, but it's not a beetle. And the giant water scorpions are also quite big actually. Can be quite massive, 6 inches long. Somebody asked a question earlier, now that I remember it, about what makes the wings of a firefly glow. Not the wings at all, bioluminescence, or the luminescence of a glowworm or a firefly. It's actually bacteria. It's in the abdomen, in the gut, in the stomach. The abdomen, really, that's what it is. And the firefly isn't a fly, it is a beetle. There's been elephant here, quite fresh elephant stuff. We need to go around onto Drakensberg. The male firefly, elephant going north from down there. The male is a flying beetle, and this is the South African firefly, our African fireflies. Male is the adult beetle, and he has a flicking light in his abdomen, flashing. I'm just listening to the radio. Aha, herd of Ellies that crossed and have gone towards Drakensberg Drive with a tiny little baby. He flies around looking for females who tend to mostly live on the edges of water, permanent water, and the long vegetation you find on the edges of water. So zebra tracks. And she doesn't become an adult beetle. She stays in a sort of semi-larval state. And she has a permanent light, a fixed glow. She's called a glow worm, but she's not a worm. She's a beetle, but she's not an adult beetle because she doesn't become an adult beetle. Gonna have a look over this ridge. Zebra have been rolling. Maybe we need to go further west, go and investigate that zebra story. Lots of elephant. I think a lot of the elephant that we were seeing up in this area yesterday is still around. Hope they are still around. There are a lot of tracks here that weren't here yesterday. Have a quick glimpse what's over this little hill, and then we'll go back to Drakensberg Drakensberg Drive, and then head west. Not much happening here. At all. Right. Morning, Hal. South Dakota. Hal wants to know if any of the beetles make a hissing sound. There are a lot of beetles, Hal, that make a kind of a hissing sound, but it's mostly what we call stridulation. It's in beetles, stridulation occurs when they rub the segments of their abdomen against each other. They have these special little hairs and special little ridges on the segments of the abdomen, or maybe between the abdomen and the wing. I mean, stridulating is how most insects make their noise. Almost all insects make their noise entirely by stridulating, whether it's the inside of the thigh of the back leg against the abdomen, or it's the segments of the abdomen, or the wing against the abdomen, or the leg against the wing. There are all sorts of different things that insects do. Here's a wild hibiscus coming back into flower from the rain. Nothing on it, no. Through here, crossed. Have a look for things. Heading north. Big Nyala bull far down the road. Do any of the beetles shoot acid, Marianne in Arkansas? Marianne? Yes, we do have some beetles that shoot acid. Some of the ground beetles, they shoot acid at their opponent's eyes. They're quite accurate as well. Yellow and black beetles. And the name in South Africa is known as a pista beetle, which directly translates as eye pista. There's also the bombardier beetle, which gives off like a little puff of acidic gas. There is also the blister beetle, which I mentioned. The blister beetle eats predominantly the flowers of certain types of plants, mostly the cotton family and potato family. And the blister beetle produces an acid. It doesn't squirt the acid, it just releases it on the base of the hind legs. That causes severe blistering on human skin. What else is there that beetles do as defense? Some of them just have very big chelicerae, not chelicerae, jaws, mandibles. Spiders have chelicerae. Now we have to go down Batelier Road and look for these pachyderms. Morning, Charlie. Charlie, you've heard stories. Charlie's saying she heard that there are animals that get drunk on fermenting fruits. Not true, it doesn't happen. And the marulas do lie around sometimes, quite thick on the ground. And sometimes they do ferment a little bit, natural fermentation. But animals would have to eat a lot of fruit. And yes, there are many fruit trees. I think it's taken me a couple of days to start going to go through them, Charlie. You might have heard me mentioning all the fruits that we get here. I think what you're thinking of when people mention fruit trees, you automatically perhaps think of apples and pears and oranges. But we don't have any of those fruits, no commercial fruits. The fruits that we have here are all wild. Here's another one, the Balanites. Torchwood has a fruit. They're not recognizable as anything you would call a fruit, and they're certainly not the kind of fruit that you're going to find in a shop because they're not commercially viable. But they're ample for for the wildlife that feeds on them. And it's only really the only fruit that does lie around and possibly ferments is the marula. But they get eaten so much and they get used by so many things that no animal can really get drunk on them. The alcohol content can never get really, really high. So I have to be honest, all my life living in the bush, never happened. Unfortunately, the myth of the story was perpetuated by a movie made back in the 70s. That's how far, I mean, the legends of animals getting drunk go back a long, long time. And a wildlife filmmaker in the 1970s made a film called Beautiful People that showed baboons getting drunk and elephants getting drunk on marula fruits. But it was all a setup. It was not true. There's a tall-spotted owl somewhere in this jackleberry. To find it is another matter. Just heard it calling now. Unless it was a drongo mimicking an owl. Can't see it. If I can't see it, camera's not going to see it. literally driving through spiderweb that's tickling my face. Remnants of bark spider webs and just gossamer strands that end up crossing the road. Kelly in Oklahoma wants to know if I know of the oldest living animal in the area right now. No idea at all, actually. I don't even know what animals there are in the area right now. But I suppose in terms of longevity and which animals are able to live the longest, I suppose the elephant could take the cake. Now, go to Mumba Road, go back up that way along Mumba Road. I suppose elephant in the wild will reach maybe 55, 60, 65 would be pushing it. Unless there were crocodiles. Crocodiles could probably live longer, and then maybe tortoises could live a little longer. We don't have any big crocodiles in this area, so that rules them out. And the leopard tortoise, might be a leopard tortoise that can live maybe up to 100, I guess. But there's no real way of knowing. Only who or what the oldest one is, but how old it is. You see, Djuma is but a tiny little piece of a very large, vast area of wildlife. So when we talk about the area, we assume it's just Djuma, the couple of thousand acres that we have to drive around here in Djuma, which is merely a fraction of the millions of acres, and I mean millions of acres, that constitute a Kruger Park here. See, we can't cross our boundaries. So if we speak, we really speak of this little patch of bushveld that we visit every day. If you were to take a couple of yards of central and you watch that same little square west of something. Let's see, let me try a different example. Oh, bushbuck. Please don't go away, little bushbuck. Go back a little bit. Yeah. The oxpecker is picking, she's saying, not now, not now. Oxpecker wants the ticks in her ear. Or her eye. Thing combing around. I suppose the one time or rather size scale we can use is the size of an oxpecker compared to the size of the animal. When we look at oxpeckers on Nyala and Kudu, are the cousins of the bushbuck. She looks like she could be pregnant. Notice she's got virtually no striping, mostly only a few spots. Pretty little bushbuck. Morning, Ellen in Arkansas. Wanting to know what my opinion is on the reason why there are no leopards around at the moment. Is it because of the lion and the wild dog? Well, Ellen, they only sort of briefly touched on Djuma for a day or two. Leopard haven't been around for a lot longer. What's the reason? There's no reason. They're just in other areas. They're just in other parts of their territory. Or they've been on kills, or I don't know. It's hard to tell. Sorry, little bushbuck. That judging by what the guys are saying on the radio, there's anything out there this morning. It's just the way it is. There are leopards moving about anywhere in this RB sand. I'm not talking about any leopards on other properties either. It's not moving around. Peggy wants to know look, here's it. Let me show you how. Let me bring it this way. Very interesting little fly. No, it's gone. This is a tick. I suppose it's very similar to the deer ticks. You can see all it is doing is hugging this piece of grass, and it's waiting for something to come along, waiting to pick up the carbon dioxide or the warmth of an animal. And if I touch you, tick, you're not interested because I'm not the kind of animal you're looking for, am I? This is not a tick that bites humans. Quite an interesting tick, actually. Oh, come on, I want to see your back. It's got a right front claw missing. Anyway, back to the grasses. Tick. And wait for a kudu or something. There's another one. Different species. This one is now picking up. This one's getting a lot more active because I am possibly a good host. So you see, it doesn't like me. Okay, what was Peggy P asking? I forgot that, but I saw a tick. Killer bees. We have killer bees. Killer bees is just a really sad press name. I mean, there are very aggressive bees in Central America coming into southern North America, and those are hybrid bees. Those are crossbred bees. Some of them ex-African bees. We do get bees. We get many different kinds of bees. We only really get two types of bees that are social or communal. And one, of course, is the honeybee. There is, I mean, we're talking about honeybees. Killer bees are just honeybees, but they can be rather aggressive. They've been crossbred with honeybees in North America, and they have been causing havoc because I suppose being in large swarms and attacking humans and livestock they've caused some deaths, and so they get nicknamed killer bees. Our African bees, actually killer bees are really supposed to be called Africanized bees, I think, because they've been bred with African bees. Oh, this monkey orange, I think I could find one monkey orange fruit? No. There's like a short somewhere, so it's cutting out. Trying to keep that thing steady. That thing should be fine. When elephants drink water, do they pick up parasites? If so, what type of parasites? I guess there must be things in water, amoebas and what indications are there? I have no idea, Bob. I can't answer that question. That's a little bit out of my expertise. I'm not even going to guess at that one. There's an elephant. Didn't like me pointing at it. But these are the ellies I was looking for. Hello, child. Where's your mother? I want to ask you. There's the mother. Hello, mama. Maybe one of the moms. Not the greatest place to stop. Do elephants pick up parasites when they drink water? I'm sure there must be some endoparasites that, or for that matter, nematodes. What indications are there? I guess if you had to study the dung to see the endoparasite load, I would have to ask a friend like Yolande Pretorius, who does elephant studies, or Michelle from Save the Elephants, which is now called Elephants Alive, the organization. Quite thick bush we have here. Let's see if we can position ourselves to see them better, especially little one. Maybe from this angle. Yes, that might be a bit better. Maybe she'll move. Looks like we need to turn around. Some more coming through the woodwork at the back behind her. Let's quickly turn around so we can see. Maybe she's going to cross the road. another one, another big old girl coming across the road with her child. Morning, Bob. Bob in Iowa. Wanting to know where I live. Is there a place that studies elephants, and have I participated in those studies? Not a place really, Bob. Young lady that I know spent a few years very close to where I live, the same habitat, what we call Mapani Veld. Mapani trees, very important in elephant society. Mapani Veld. All these elephants probably go up to Mapani Veld at some point in their lives, I'm sure. Maybe they stick to the roundleaf teak though. But she did her PhD study on elephants in Mapani Veld and the nutritional value of plants in Mapani Veld. Amongst other things, she's also been taking care of a small group of elephants in a self-contained reserve a couple of 100 miles away. But the other thing about the place where I live, and I suppose this is part of it too, if we ever see a collared elephant, there is an ongoing study, elephant study. It's called, and it's both here and in East Africa. The organization is called Elephants Alive. It has been known as SaveTheElephants.org for a long time. I think they've just updated it. Now it's called Elephants Alive. It's the same project. For many years they've had collared elephants. She's going to push that tree, Mama. Another mama and her calf further up to the right. Ah, she's going to push that tree. The buffalo thorn. I don't know if she's trying to intimidate me. I don't think so. Push it with your foot. Nothing to do with me. Just elephants feeding. And anyways, the collared elephants that they have, they monitor the seasonal movement, the seasonal travel. Oh, she's getting angry with this child. They're able to monitor the elephants. There she is now eating the bark off of this buffalo thorn. All those thorns. Yeah, she twisted around in her mouth. It comes out on the other end with all the bark stripped off. Not often they do this with buffalo thorns, so she might be using it medicinally. It's got a praying mantis on its ear, that little one. Big female, and now it's on her shoulder. Probably going to get brushed off. A big praying mantis on her shoulder. Come on, come forward, child. No, I must have jumped off. So this cow rumbled at that calf, told it to go away because she was busy with this buffalo thorn, and she seems to need it, and she told the little one not to. So the little one's big sister came and collected it and has taken the little one away so that mom can chew on this buffalo thorn in peace. Her head is hanging a little low. She's not a youngster. You can see how much higher her shoulders are. Sorry, Bob, digressing. A lot of the collared elephants come past my house. So where I live is part of this elephant study area. I'll give assistance where I can. I suppose I should do more. There's a lot more I should do. Photographs and things. She also had an insect on her head, but now I can't see her head. There's a looper caterpillar on her forehead. I think some people call them inchworms. Oh, he's approaching her and she's making a go for him. She's saying, "Don't come near me." And he's a little boy, so he's trying to get bold because he wants some of this buffalo thorn now that she's pushed it over. Maybe that was strange, because now she's giving way to him. She's older than him, stretching his trunk and she's slapping his trunk away with her tail. And he's intimidating her. That's not nice, little boy. Have respect for your elders. What? He's strange. Oh, that's nice. Got two little boys sparring coming up behind us. 4 little boys pushing and shoving each other. We're being surrounded, but we'll see them shortly because we can't stay behind us. So what is he trying to do? She tried to protect her tree because it was her buffalo thorn. She pushed it over and he came along and he intimidated her, and now he's trying to snap it off, bouncing on it. No doubt these other boys that are coming along are going to come and... maybe not. This is... If only we could turn the camera. Four-way sparring session. So he gave up on the tree. I don't know if we'll be able to follow them, get through onto Leadwood Road. We can try. Or maybe we just drive around to Leadwood Road. It's quite far away. I think we know this little one with the V-shaped tear in its ear. I've seen it before. Hello, baby boy. Hello, baby. Oh, Shabby and Law Mumber Road crossing south heading towards Leadwood. Okay, yeah, I was headed that way because I also want to get check on that mangwa, but I then picked up corns off on Love and followed that. You're lagging behind, little boy. I think let's rather use the roads. I don't know, 2 miles, use the road or try and follow them. See how bad it gets. There used to be a road through, but there's some pans in here. Mud wallows. And if it gets too thick, then we'll just have to take the road route. Taking the road route, we might never find them again. Squeeze next to this wattle. Cecilia morning. Yeah, do Ellies have hair on their skin? They do have fine hairs around their body. Well, not fine, I suppose for Ellies they're quite coarse hairs. But yes, they do. There's hairs on their chin, their little like stubble on their foreheads. What on earth? Something. Did you see these branches move? Oh, that was very strange. see if we get close enough when we get. They're all moving now, and we're just trying to follow. We need, probably lose them because of this drainage line that we've got in front of us. Huge drainage line. We'll be able to zoom in and look at some of the different hairs on their bodies. Oh, they smaller. I think she's having a rest. That cow, this one that we got on picture now, she seems to have sort of, she's sort of not dozing, but she's resting. She's relaxed most of her body. She's relaxed her trunk. We're near the old hyena den. There's an old hyena den there somewhere. Yeah, now she's woken up again. Bit of a stretch. York that looked at us down her nose a few minutes ago has moved off. Bit of breakfast bar. We don't have. If anybody can hear me, we're having internet problems again. Not streaming, not broadcasting, just internet. So this female was waiting for that other female to finally move on. Hello, Harlequin Dreams. asking if the big Ellie bull we saw a few days ago, that's a true tusker. He will be. He will be one day. Intimidate each other. Really scared. So he gets bullied by a bigger bull. And now he wants to take it out on me. Us. But he's a child. Of course he's big, and he can still do something. Brian says some of you haven't got picture, you've only got sound. Well, we've been sitting with some of the little boys that are sparring and making a noise and just being boys. I'm driving past a bunch of others. Haven't really got a good view of Ellie's at the moment. Can't see them. They're two little boys. Just see, no, they move too much. Because they're sparring, they're sort of, they're not really staying in one place as much as the cows and the calves are. Okay, I'm going to go a little bit forward to, oh, golden orb web. There's any water here. Doesn't look like it. It's pretty dry. I remember. Oh, serious sharking going on up there. It's that little one having a tantrum. Virtually dried up. Haven't been here for years, but there were times when we used to come here with Mission and Djuma. Times we would follow them through here. I think it was even once or twice that I took a chance and I came here and I found one of them here. Mission and Djuma were Karula's second little boys. If I'm not mistaken, I actually managed to get here from Twin Dams one day, more recently, from the other side. For leopard. Oh, there's a lovely big grove of Djuma trees where I'm at right now. I'm just looking at the trees. Can get a picture. Very thick Djuma forest here. Sorry, Brian, the other radio was on. I didn't get there.
Everybody's got us again.
Okay, everyone's with us again. So, there, that's the... Whoa! Didn't see that hole coming. Well, I can't see any holes here. Sorry, that's the Tambuti forest on my right that we were looking at. Can find those lilies again if we can. Say goodbye. Maybe making their way to Twin Dams, I guess. Elephant having a tantrum here. It's getting very thick, and I think it's going to be time for us to maybe find our way out of here. Rather, it is. It's just off to our left here, but we can't quite get to them. Sorry. There's that little one still running around and trumpeting. I think he's looking for its mother, possibly. Having a tantrum. I saw that a little while ago. Out in quarantine with another youngster, much younger than this one. Also getting very upset about things. Elephant highway that we're on here. Very big elephant paths. Oh, sorry, go. Running, I mean, it's just running a very big wide circle. This elephant. I'll come through this way again. You just hear trees crashing.
I saw one over there.
No, I'm just thinking of the one that's running around and crashing. I can see these, but there was that little one that's running around and covering a fair amount of ground. And it's tantrum. So, to be honest, if I can find this old crossing. this was crossing, but maybe we can get across here. A bit rocky. Hopefully not too deep. An obstacle. Stuck in an obstacle. Somehow I don't think this is it. So you see, if we'd taken the road, we wouldn't have found them. Because they didn't come out onto this road. Green spider. Hello, kudu. Kudu and baby kudu. Two baby kudu. So that baby kudu is about the size of a nyala female. If you want to know how big nyala are with kudu, that baby kudu is probably nyala sized, and that big mama kudu. Hey, children. Disturbing them. Sneak off quietly so we're not seen as a threat. Fortunately, the oxpeckers weren't making too much noise. They're alarming. One good thing, animals might run, but if the oxpeckers don't make the noise, they don't make alarm calls, then the animals wonder what they're running around for. Those were young kudu. They're not that familiar with the vehicles yet. But one thing that would have calmed them down was just the odd chattering of the oxpeckers. It doesn't change pitch or doesn't change tone to alarming. These little flies. Those elephant carry on. They should be coming through into this drainage line somewhere up ahead into the Mulwati River. A little bit further on. I guess we could. Hopefully we'll get signal down there. Have a look. If we don't get signal, we'll just come back out here to Twin Dam. This is where they were headed. We were at the back of the herd with those little boys that were playing and the one little one throwing a tantrum. One female took off and they stayed behind. And most likely, there's a very big elephant path, so they might even come through on this pathway. But I think they were a little bit further up this way. Other option is that they come down this pathway from up there. Just up here somewhere. moisture that we've had in the last couple of days. All the mushrooms growing out of the early dung. You get when we went off air, an elephant came and stole my breakfast bar. Okay, good one. Except, here's the rest of my energy bar. See, here it is. Elephant didn't steal it. I just haven't finished eating it yet. I'll have it for breakfast. Elephant stole my breakfast bar. No, there was a young elephant that was going berserk. Going off air was just an unfortunate thing that happened because we lost internet. It had nothing to do with the bars. Nothing, no early coming out. But had a wonderful time with them. Little ones are so gorgeous. And so onward home. Heading back home. Been a lovely morning. Insects. Hopefully we'll be able to find some, maybe I can find some more specimens, talk about them on during time.
Hello everyone. Being live has its technical challenges. We're experiencing some of that now.
And blast off. So we just got a bull here as we were coming out of the riverbed on Mamba Road where we saw the bushbuck. The bushbuck is still there actually, but where's this little boy? Can't find him now. I wanted to say goodbye to him. We will have to go back down into the riverbed if we get signal there.
I see them. The head of
Oh, there it is. There's another one. But yes, with an elephant over my shoulder. I'm gonna see if we can't ascertain who these are. Might be they're still part of the herd, but they spread out from here all the way to Twin Dams. I don't know if these are just bulls or it looks like that could be a big bull, another bull. Maybe just bulls that are on the periphery of the herd. There we go. I'm hoping that you'll join us again this afternoon because it's another time that we can come out and find elephants and spend time with them. We have another 3 hours to do later. Unfortunately now it's time to say goodbye. We're going to head back to camp and do what we need to at camp this morning. I'll see you a bit later. My name is Mark. Andrew's been on camera and Brian has been back in final control. We will be back at 4 o'clock Central African time. Come and look for elephants and other things. Maybe lion. Maybe we'll go and see what happened to that zebra. We didn't get to do that this morning. So we'll see you all later. Bye. Love you lot. Bye bye, Mr. Ellie.